So now we can start, and hello everybody and everywhere. And we are continuing to talk about nothing. And nothing is quite a useful thing, because nothing relates to the state of liberation. Nothing or emptiness is one of the gates for liberation. And in Sutra teaching, we are talking about 3 gates of liberation. It's number 1 is emptiness. Then the other one is signlessness, or absence of characteristics. But what it really means, it means that something that cannot be an object of our mind. And then the third one is wishlessness. So meaning that there is no desire, there is no necessity to change anything. So these are 3 gates of emptiness, 3 gates of liberation, and emptiness is number 1. And we are supposed to know the state of liberation in general, because we are Dzogchen practitioners. So all we talk about is liberation. So all our practice is about liberation. And then, like nowadays, many people are interested to do Sutra practice for somebody else. And because they, of course, all people, they have feelings, they feel they want to help somebody, etc. But the point is that when we want to do the practice of Sutra, we should be in the state of liberation. We should be in pure vision. It's not like, oh, I feel pity to this person or that person. I feel so much pity. I want to help. And then I'm sending light and chanting some mantra. Maybe this is good because the intention is good. So we cannot say this is bad. But definitely it cannot help. Because the way to help is achieved only through this being in the state of liberation, being beyond suffering. Because what does it mean we want to help somebody? When somebody dies, we want to help. When somebody dies, there is a chance, there is a very small chance for liberation. Why? Because we are no longer conditioned by our sensory perceptions, which are constantly distracting us. And we are not conditioned by our physical body that hurts, usually hurts and requires so much of our attention. There is many demands from our body. So even we are trying to practice, but then our body is asking, please feed me. Or then it's saying, oh, please go and walk me. Or for example, like take me to the toilet. So, and we always like have to stand up and to take our butt to the toilet. You know, there is a joke about this. I didn't plan this joke, it came spontaneously. So, but of course, bad joke, no? So, a man, it's a very male joke, very male. It's not male chauvinistic, but it's very male. It's more like opposite way. So, a man is waking up in the middle of the night. And he's very sleepy, he was very tired, and he wakes up in the middle of the night, and then he gets up and he's touching the walls, and he walks his way to the toilet. He doesn't want to turn on light, he just walks to the toilet. He is coming to the toilet, and then he leans to the door because he's still sleepy, he cannot normally stand, but he take out his equipment and starts to piss. So he's pissing and pissing and pissing, and then he's talking to his friend. He's saying, you see, when you need that, I always stand up. So this is our situation, yeah? When our body is demanding, we cannot really refuse. When we are demanding something from our body, it doesn't always happen. Yeah. But if the body is demanding, then it's very difficult to refuse. Okay, we can go on strike and refuse, but then it's again us who has problems. So this is the situation of our bodies. And when we are separated from our bodies, I mean, separated, it does not really mean that our soul goes away from the body. No, it means that we no longer perceive what's happening in the body. Somehow detached. The same way we are detached in a deep sleep. You know, when we go into a deep sleep, then nobody says, oh, our soul is somewhere else. No, we are still there. But we lose contact with senses, we lose contact with our body, and it means there are less distractions. And then there is a chance to discover our real nature. And if we are not conditioned by our bodies anymore, then it means that it will not distract us. Because you see, you know very well, even we go to do some practice, I cannot judge whether it's state of liberation or something else, but in any case, we do some deep practice and we get some deep insight, etc. Some wisdom is manifesting to us. How long can we keep it? How long can we continue with that wisdom? No? And then what is distracting us? Whatever is distracting us is coming through the body. Mainly, it's coming through the body. Even we just need to stand up and go to the toilet, and already in the toilet, we no longer maintain this wisdom because we are distracted, or we need to eat, or we need to sleep, etc. So you see, the body is distracting very much. And so when we are losing our body, so it means it will no longer distract us. There can be other things that can distract us, but they say, this I don't really know. This is what they say in like Tibetan Book of the Dead or some other text they say, because I didn't check, see? I mean, even if I check, I wouldn't be able to tell you, but we will all check eventually if it's true or not. I don't know, maybe it's gonna be too late to check. Who knows, yeah? But we hope. We hope. At least we invested our lives believing that it's like this, yeah? So we hope, okay. If we lose, we lose. So, but at least we can have interesting life believing in this kind of things. There can be some magic in our lives. If there is no magic, then it's no fun, no? So they say that there is a chance of liberating, of discovering one's own condition, not being distracted by anything. Ah, fantastic. So, then the visions are manifesting, and the point of Sutra means that whatever is manifesting as our vision, which is not related to our physical gross senses, is manifesting to us, and this is our own energy manifesting. And the point of Sutra means restful and peaceful, as all you know. And it's more like, you know, like there are different kinds of crazy people, yeah, in asylums. Yeah, there are some people very, very peaceful, yeah, in mental institutions, very, very peaceful, very nice, always smiling, yeah, very happy, you know. Oh, but some are wrathful, yeah. Some should be transformed. There is a way, psychiatry has a way of transforming wrathful into peaceful, yeah, the different kinds of things. My mother underwent a surgery this year, and she was under deep sedation, and it took her more than 1 week to recover from that sedation. And during that period when she was not really recognizing what was happening, she didn't recognize me, she didn't understand that she was in the hospital, etc. She was transitioning, you know, from peaceful state to wrathful state, yeah? Still insane, both were insane. Sometimes she was like smiling, being very happy and peaceful, etc., enjoying what's there, but sometimes she was very, very aggressive. So yeah, this is both are our nature, both, everything. So like wrathful and peaceful deities, we can consider them like patients in mental institutions. Yeah, we have this mental institution, yeah, by our own name, you know, not some like charity fund by Rockefeller or somebody else, but by our own name. We have mental institution, and we have many different characters there. And they are manifesting. Sometimes we feel they are us, but it's not really, they are our energy. And they are manifesting all different forms and shapes. It's not necessarily that manifesting like Tibetan deities or Indian deities or demons, etc. No, it's not necessary. Just the different kinds of shapes and colors and maybe different forms that we are more used to. Maybe it's going to be Jesus Christ or Madonna, who knows? It can be anything. But the point is that this all is not coming from our senses. This all is coming from inside, from our potentiality, from our energy, but we fall into dualistic vision and we step into a relationship with all those visions. And the relationship can be attraction, rejection, fear, lust, or ignoring, etc. There can be different kinds of relationship, but these all are our manifestations. And these are shitras, yeah, shitras, manifestations, wrathful and peaceful manifestations. Why they're called deities? They're called deities because it's our enlightened state which is not recognized. So the point of shitra practice is to recognize these deities as our own state. This is the point of shitra. Yeah. And then if you want to help somebody, so it means we want to help somebody to recognize that, no? But it means that at least we ourselves should be in the state of this recognition, in the state of this liberation. Yeah? Because otherwise it becomes just a religious ritual that, okay, as I said already, the intention is good, so maybe it brings some good karma to you, to that person who is performing that ritual. But I really doubt it can bring any benefit, or some benefit, or a benefit which is intended there to the deceased person. But if we are in the state of liberation, that maybe there is a chance through our connection, because we are interacting. You see, we are interacting long distance. There is interaction, like when a person that we know very well, we are close with, like has a difficult condition or is dying, many of us have dreams. Yeah, many of us, we are connected. So the same way we can influence. It's a two-way road. Two-way traffic is there. Not just one way we are receiving, but we can also influence. But how do we influence? We influence, first of all, through our own state. Not really through mantra or mudra or visualization, which are supplementary. These are supplementary things. But the main thing which is really helping other beings, whether they are dead or alive, you know, we say sentient beings, it's more like, in Russian language, we literally say living beings. And then it becomes very funny because we do something for dead living beings. Yeah? So it doesn't matter whether these beings are dead or alive. Yeah? In Dzogchen, we say death and life is eternal life. Yeah? life and death. Yeah. So, but the main thing which is really helping is our state, is our presence. In a way, we are present in other beings' dimension in certain way. Yeah. How are we present? Like, for example, our teacher Chogyal Norbu could be present in our dimension. We can feel his presence, yeah, in certain way. It's like when somebody is standing behind our back, like we are school children and we are doing something, preparing our homework, and then our mother or our father are standing behind us and we don't see them, but we feel their presence very strongly. So there is presence, and it can be beneficial presence. It can also be harmful presence. Yeah? So it depends on our state. And if we really want to influence things, then we must be in the state of liberation ourselves. This is the point. This is the essence. And when we do Shitra, it means we are recognizing all these deities as our own potentiality of Vajra. If you don't recognize, then what's that? That's magic. But magic in a not very nice sense of the word, like a very primitive magic. Something that people with magical thinking do. But this is not a very advanced thing, no? It is something very ordinary. So people love magic, this kind of magic very much, because it looks like it can, it gives easy solutions or illusion of an easy solution to some problems. You imagine something and this will happen. No. If there are causes, then it can happen, but otherwise, no. But these practices, and in general, how we like liberate beings, yeah, how we bring benefit to beings, we bring benefit through our own state. Yeah. There is no other way. We recognize our state, and then we interact. And we can interact different ways. We can interact like orally, like we are communicating, for example, but it's not just that. There are many other aspects in our interaction. There is a visual communication, yeah, also. Sometimes we have a possibility to touch each other, and this is also a very strong means of communication. Yeah? This is not just for pleasure, but this is also for communicating, or pleasure, but sometimes we beat each other. This is more like harmful, but still it is a communication. Yeah? And of course, there is a communication through smell, which is particularly strong. Yeah? Sometimes even through taste. Yeah? You see that there are so many ways of communicating through all our channels. And also mentally we can communicate. We can communicate the meaning. And we can communicate beyond words. This means that we communicate with our presence. Yeah? And this presence is changing something if you find a proper way to communicate. So this is the meaning of like Shitra practice, etc. And the essence of that is emptiness, yeah? Because whatever is happening in Shitra does not exist, does not have real existence. So when we feel, oh, I really exist, I exist like something gross, concretely, I exist. And then a person who died also exists in some way, dead or alive, you know, wanted, dead or alive, yeah? And we feel like this, and we feel, oh, there is some concrete help that we can do, but then we do something strange. We sing mantras, we do visualization, and we do some gestures with our hands, and then we are satisfied because we think, oh, we did our best. Yeah, could also be. Yeah. But that's not the point. Then we discover that in the state of liberation, everything looks like an illusion. Like in a dream, it doesn't mean dream disappears. No, it continues. But you can feel, for example, whatever is happening now at this moment, are you sure that you already woke up? Are you sure that it's not a continuation of your dream in the night, or maybe your nap in the afternoon? So we can feel things. There is an exercise in Samde teachings. I don't really know where in Samde teachings we find this exercise, but Rinpoche was mentioning that there is this kind of exercise in Samde teaching, but also there is this exercise in Sutra teaching, that we perceive everything like a dream. Yeah? It means we use our imagination a little bit. It's like we have some small switch somewhere in our head, and we switch it and we feel, oh, it's a dream. Yeah, it's not difficult. It's not difficult. It's also a very good thing that to use our imagination. Let's experiment a little bit with this. I didn't plan it, but it's coming by its own. So let's experiment. And I recommend you to switch to gallery view. So I can see, now I can see 25 people here on my screen, and I recommend you to switch into gallery view so you could also see 25 or more people, or now more people are turning on cameras. And then we can see all people, yeah. And some people we know. But can you imagine that these people are enlightened beings, are deities? All people that you see on the screen. Maybe it can be surprising for you about some individuals. About some individuals, maybe you already suspected something. Yeah. But about some individuals, and it can be really surprising. But it's just a matter of just, you know, moving something, making some adjustment in our head. And you can see, we don't know how enlightened beings should look like. We don't really know. In Sutra, they expect to have 40 teeth. Yeah, in Sutra. 40 teeth, very long ears. Also, the tongue should be very long to cover the body, the forehead, to cover the forehead, the tongue of a Buddha. But I think now I have, like me and Tom and Francis and Michael and Harry, yeah, we have very big foreheads. I don't know if Buddha's tongue would be enough to cover, but at least, you know, when Buddha was just born, has not been the Buddha yet, was just Siddhartha. When he was born, then a wizard from the royal court, his father's advisor or something, he came and he checked if, how is this baby? And he said, oh, this baby is very special because has all marks of a great being. Mahapurusha Lakshana. But for me, this story is always funny. Yeah, so you can imagine that taking out baby's tongue and checking if the tongue can cover the forehead, you know, touching here, the hairline. Or some investigations are okay, but then 40 teeth. But do you expect a baby born with 40 teeth? Yeah. Everyone will freak out, no? If you have a baby born with 40 teeth, yeah, that would be something strange. You know the story of Tanton Gyalpo? No? The story of Tanton Gyalpo is that Tanton Gyalpo was one of the holders of Trongzhug doctrine. It means entering another person's body, not entering in the way that men like entering into another person's body, but like with our consciousness entering and governing, controlling other person's body. Yeah. And then there was this crazy bodhisattva, crazy tantric practitioner, Ra Lotsava, who was Yamantaka practitioner. And he had this very strange idea that all lineages of this Tranjuk practice should be terminated in this world, because he had the kind of revelation that in future this practice can be easily misused by people. Then he decided that he should terminate all Vajrayana lineages of transmitting this Tranjuk practice. And he was using his magic powers of Yamantaka for scanning the surface and discovering who is where. No, like better than, maybe not better, but at least more or less as good as Facebook or Google are doing now, just tracing all the movements of these people, and using his magic powers to kill them. Like Marpa's son, Dharmadode, was killed by his power when he got distracted. He got drunk, distracted, and then this Ralotsava could apply his powers. And so he eliminated all but one, except one. Yeah. And this one was Tanton Gyalpo. And the reason he couldn't eliminate Tanton Gyalpo was that Tanton Gyalpo has not yet been born. He was still staying in his mother's womb, waiting for being paroled, or, you know, just let out. And he was already also kind of enlightened being, bodhisattva, and he knew that Ralotsava was chasing after him. But this female womb is a kind of a protective shell. So these powers, they couldn't enter. You know, like some people are protecting from 5G, they put caps made of foil, or when from extraterrestrials, they are also transmitting some rays, you know, influencing people, put foil on their head to protect, or like cooking pans sometimes. In the Ukraine, cooking pans are more popular than foil caps. Yeah. So, and this female womb is like this kind of a protective shell. And Danton Gyalpo, it is said that he was staying there for many, many decades, waiting till Ralotsava dies. And finally, Ralotsava died, and he could not reach Danton Gyalpo. Danton Gyalpo is a kind of a Tibetan Leonardo. Yeah, he was a great scholar and inventor. He invented the bridges, how to make bridges over precipice, etc. But that was later. So when Danton Gyalpo got his birth, he was already 60 years old, and he looked like an old man, you know, with the white hair, with the big forehead, etc. already. You know, a little bit like Sasha Pubans, yeah? You know Sasha Pubans, everyone, maybe not everyone knows Sasha Pubans, but many people know. And I know Sasha Pubans since 1995, and he looked exactly like he looks now. You can also check photos. And I know people who knew him before, still before, and these people also swear that he looked exactly the same when they met him first time. So you see, Sasha Pubans is also this kind of a being. I don't know how he looked when he was 8 years old, but I guess more or less the same. Yeah, I suppose, because he doesn't really change. Yeah, he has CD, definitely. Yeah. Sasha has CD. So, and then, of course, when you are born as a 60 years old, I don't know if you have 40 teeth. Maybe you already have something like 16 teeth, but you already lost some. Yeah. when you are 60. But then Buddha, when they checked the Buddha, they checked and he had 40 teeth. Yeah, this is something really strange. Yeah. And then also you need to check also genitals, because Buddha's genitals also have some special design. Yeah, not like ordinary beings. So, but this is a sutra consideration, even Hinayana, mainly Hinayana Sutra consideration of how enlightened being should look like. But in Vajrayana, we don't have this consideration. Also in Dzogchen, we don't have this consideration. What we consider enlightened being, it means the state of knowledge, not the state of the body, not the shape of the body. Even in Sutra, in Diamond Sutra, it said that we cannot recognize Tathagata through characteristics of his shape. We cannot recognize, it's impossible. So enlightened beings can look any way, can look like a piece of shit. Yeah, why not? Yeah. So look at each other. Yeah. I don't mean that you look like a piece of shit, of course, no. No, but, but sometimes I do. Sometimes I look into the mirror in the morning and say, oh, what a piece of shit. But we don't know how enlightened beings look. And try to see each other, look at each other, just keep like for 1-2 seconds and see, oh, this is a like enlightened being, this is a bodhisattva, or this is like manifestation of Tara, or this is a manifestation or a reincarnation of some teacher, etc. We don't know how they should look like, can look anything. So look at each other and feel that these are enlightened beings that you are looking at. Spend some time. And maybe they came to tell you something important. You don't need to feel that much about yourselves, but about others, yes. And maybe they came, all of them came to help you or to check how good a practitioner you are, just to see how your presence is. They want to see if you can be like upgraded to the next level. So you are the only one like attendant of this course, but all others came just for you, to help you. So try to look. You can see 20, 25 people on your screen. You can also scroll the screen to see more people. And try to see. Doesn't matter male or female. Doesn't matter young or old. Young can also be enlightened being as well as old. Doesn't matter ugly or beautiful. Doesn't matter healthy or sick. Can also manifest sick. Some people don't believe enlightened beings can manifest sickness. Say, no, how can it be this teacher? They say he's so great, but he has some sickness. This is the reason is that these people are very afraid of being sick. Sick or healthy doesn't matter. Look. Doesn't matter which race. Really doesn't matter. Not in an ideological way, but doesn't matter. Sexual orientation doesn't matter. Who said enlightened beings cannot manifest homosexual or transsexual? Can be anything. If in Jatakas we have stories like Buddha manifested like a turtle, for example, or monkey, can be anything. And then observe how you feel. When you see all these people you're looking at your screen, are enlightened beings who came for you, to help you, to check you, to test you, to give you support, to tell you something important, to communicate. Maybe not to tell, but to communicate you something important. Some message you've been waiting for all of your life. And all these people are here for this purpose. We can think like this, no problem for us, no? Then how you feel? Do you feel some change in your state? No. We can feel, definitely. Our imagination is changing our state. Projections of our mind are very powerful. Like, for example, you can look at the person and this person is really nasty and you don't like this person. But then somebody tells you, yeah, but this person is sick with cancer, very heavy, and your attitude immediately changes. Both are projections. But these projections change our attitude and change our state. And we feel it in our bodies, this change. Can you feel something like more presence? When you imagine that everyone here is an enlightened being? Huh? Can you feel more sense of like respect and some kind of a solemn feeling, yeah, that something important is happening? Can you feel it reflecting in your bodies? Yeah? Can you feel that you are more composed, more attentive, less caring about all other things that are waiting for you outside of your room? Yeah, you see. This is what we mean when we say that we perceive like our Vajra brothers and sisters like Dakas and Dakinis, yeah? Not just being polite like ladies and gentlemen, yeah? But in this way. But when we usually meet in our Dzogchen community, we don't treat each other like that. We don't have this special feeling, yeah? Mostly. Or sometimes it's there is something like this, but more like New Age style. Don't you see this is a Dakini? Something like this. This does not work. No. But we can see, we can change. And this is a projection. Because someone can say, oh, but we don't know if this is really like this or not. But who the hell cares? No. We can be one way or another way. We can feel that these are just ordinary beings and we can do whatever we want. Or we can feel these are all important beings. No, this not only works in this spiritual context. Sometimes when I'm doing my secular workshops, and I have very different people. And for example, if these people are more connected to finances, then I say, okay, you imagine that everyone else in this audience are just like top 100 from Forbes, yeah, something like this. Or if they are more interested in science, like they are Nobel Prize winners, some experts in your field, some people that are valuable, it has the same effect on people. Yeah? When you're working with money and then somebody is telling you, oh, you know, this person in the audience is that very one. Ah, really? You know how your perception is changing, how your attitude is changing, how your behavior, your reactions are changing in this way. Yeah. And then if you feel that everyone is like that, then it's changing. So you see, this is our imagination. This is the power of our imagination. In Sutra, usually we feel that our imagination can be something that should be eliminated. It's not. Also in Sutra, we are using imagination. Like when we are trying to see everyone like our mother, but then as Western people, we can have a problem. Yeah. When we are trying to see every person as our mother, then of course, then we immediately start to have the same problems with this person that we have with our mother. Yeah. This is a problem. I have a friend who is a good practitioner, and he is a very famous scholar in Sanskrit language and Pali language. And he's saying, well, they tell me to treat every sentient being like my mother, but I hate my mother. Yeah. Oh, what can we do? And this is the situation for many, many Western people. But in general, it's used like this. We use mental projections to change our attitude. So in this way, we are changing our attitude and we see each other as an enlightened being. So this is one example, and then an example why I gave this example is another example is a dream. Yeah. Change, you know, the same way like you change, you just clicked something in your head and you started to perceive everyone as an enlightened being, whatever it means. So click another switch and perceive everything like a dream. Like whatever is happening now is a dream. Who said you cannot have Zoom in your dream? Oh, you can have everything. No? You know this, so maintain. While I'm still telling these fairy tales, then maintain this perception that this is like a dream. Yeah? It's not real. It's not really happening, but it's still manifesting. Yeah. I tell you a story. You know this famous Geshe Michael Roach, yeah? Very famous. And they told me that he was a really good Geshe. But then he went crazy. Yeah. He went nuts and he started to do very weird things. And he became like a business coach, something like this, with very aggressive advertisements, etc. And he came to Moscow. And some person that I didn't even know that person, but this person knew me, and he was one of the organizers. And he said, "Oh, Igor, would you please come to see this Michael Roach?" And the tickets was something like, I don't remember, $50 or $100. So it was just the ticket for an introductory talk. And it was held in the most luxury place in Moscow city center. Yeah, very expensive, huge hall, huge really, and it was full. Yeah, and it was just an introductory talk. And this person, he asked me, why wouldn't you come? I give you an invitation so you don't need to pay for the ticket, etc. I said, oh, okay, why not? If I don't have to pay, at least I'm curious. I knew all those controversies about Geshe Michael Roach. So I was not very excited about the idea that I'm going to learn something from him. I wouldn't like to. But I was interested, just out of curiosity, I went. And I am kind of exploring the ways of manipulating the consciousness. And then I saw how he was manipulating, how well it was done, how well it was orchestrated. You know, he was saying something and my mind was talking to me. Listen, you're so lucky to be here and to listen to this great being. This is what my mind was telling to him. I was telling to my mind, what the fuck? My mind was still telling to me, yeah, great, he's telling great things. I can see that he is manipulating, absolutely, clearly, grossly and subtly. He is manipulating. He is using Buddhist teachings, but he's twisting them to make a certain impact on people, like taking something which is true, but then twisting it and making it still look true, but not being true anymore. And for me, it was very clear. And still my mind is saying, this is really great fortune to meet such person and to listen this wisdom from this person. This is what my mind was telling to me. Unfortunately, I didn't believe it, but I looked around and people were like, you know, like rabbits in front of a constrictor. Just like this, fascinated, not 100%, but almost everyone were there. And okay, it was a very interesting experience. And of course, I didn't like, in general, what I saw and the way how he manipulated people. But then what was the most interesting thing, it was my dream next morning. Next morning, I had a dream that I installed an application from Michael Roach on my smartphone, and I'm buying some product from him. And then I press the button on my smartphone, and I don't want it, but I'm pressing and like entering the code, but somehow I forgot the code, and the transaction didn't go through. And I was thinking, oh, maybe, no, it went through this transaction. I bought something for like 100 euros or something like this. But then I felt, oh, well, it's so good that I'm doing this in my dream. So my bank account is still intact. You know? But you see, we can have anything in our dreams, anything, virtually anything. But this is also shows the power of persuasion, the power of manipulation, that people can go in really very deep into our consciousness with different modes of manipulation. So we can see, we can continue that this is a dream, and in dream it doesn't matter what's happening. Maybe some of you want to do some practice in reality, but this is dream. Doesn't matter if you do practice or you don't do practice, it's still dream. So we can have this perception, and it also changes our attitude. And how does it change our attitude? Our attitude changes that we are not grasping so much when we really know this is a dream, or not knowing, even when we imagine this is a dream, we are not grasping at things. They don't matter. Whatever plans we had or whatever else, they don't matter when we feel it is a dream. This is a projected vision. This is not true insight into the reality. I want to be very clear about this. This is a projected vision, but even though this is a projected vision, it still has a huge power to change our attitude. So when we feel we are in a dream, we can have a dream with all these beautiful enlightened beings, yeah? But this is still just a dream. And we know it is a dream, and means that we don't have much grasping about what's happening to us. Yeah. Okay, try to look around and to see everything is a dream. It's like you have a dream, you are in your room. a Zoom conference. And if it's real, there is nothing special about that. But if it's a dream, then there is something. So look around, maybe look at your hands, yeah? And this is a dream, a hand of your dream, not real. Don't try to check it with sharp objects, but just look how it's moving, yeah? How these hands are moving. And at the same moment, try to see who is moving this hand. The hand is moving, yeah? Look at your hands, they are moving. Try to see who is moving them. Who is deciding how they move. Ah, strange, yeah? So look around, see yourself in a dream. Look at your legs. Look at your hands. And they are moving. Strange. Yeah. Okay. Did you have some strange feeling? Yeah. This is the power of our mental projections. But with these mental projections, we can change our condition. We can change our being in a way. We can change our reactions. Yeah? It's not about like seeing this glass half full or half empty. Yeah, like being optimistic or pessimistic. This is much more deep and much more subtle. That's why this technique was developed of technique of pure vision. It's not exactly yet pure vision, but technique of applying imagination and mental projections, because it helps us to be beyond grasping. Oh, it's like we did the other time in the previous session. We were like Vajrasattvas. This is also another mental projection, and it changes our consideration of what we see, what manifests. So in the same way, we are like in a dream. And there is less grasping. In Sutra way, how much effort we need to apply to release grasping? How many antidotes we need to apply to release grasping? You know, just persuading ourselves that we shouldn't be like this, we should not grasp, and it doesn't really work. But in this way, you just imagine that this is a dream. Of course, when we got distracted, then we grasp again. Nobody is saying that this is forever. But we can clearly see that when we perceive something, even we know it's our mental projection, but still better, it means that we are not going to be conditioned by this mental projection. Not conditioned, but still have an effect. We still have its effect. we can move and we can enjoy it, being in a dream. I don't know what kind of weather you have, but I suppose that probably in Australia, in South Africa, you probably have very good weather, no? Do you have good weather, Maureen? You cannot, just a second. Sorry, yeah. No. I cannot hear you. You have to turn on your microphone.
Oh, there we go. It's pretty pleasant here today, a bit chilly. We had a big storm last night, so it has cooled things down, but one needs to have something over one.
Yeah.
It's quite cooler.
You have spring, very pleasant.
Yes, it's unusual at this time of the year. It's usually very hot.
Yeah, in Australia, do you have good weather?
Very hot.
Very hot, yeah, a lot of sun. Yeah, yeah, a lot of sun.
Wind, just today.
Yeah, so probably in Europe, the weather is not that good. And in Israel, yesterday, the weather was extremely good, very nice. And before that, also, there was storm. And from my own experience, the best weather, it's connected with the weather. Actually, our mental condition is very much connected to the weather outside. And I discovered in my experience that the best moments for having this dreamlike vision, and you need almost no effort, is about noontime, when you have the shortest shadows, and when the sun is quite hot, maybe not very hot, but already hot, and the weather is very, very clear and everything is very transparent. And all visions are very, very sharp, you know, very convex, like in these movies by the guy who directed Twin Peaks. Yeah, Lynch. Yeah, movies by Lynch. He's the best in depicting dreams. Yeah, in his movies, and you can see that this weather, if you walk outside in this kind of weather, then you can even spontaneously have this vision that everything is like a dream. You don't need bombs falling on you. If you have bombs falling on you, then you also have this very strong feeling of a dream. Yeah, but you don't need that. Not necessary. Yeah. You can have just nice weather. Nice weather is much better. Oh. So let's continue. Let's continue to be in this dreamlike state. And you can also try to say something, to pronounce something. And to hear how your voice is sounding in your dream. And this practice develops presence. It's not something that you need a special position for. So continue. Look around. It's like make some movements. But still feeling it's a dream. particularly nice or ugly dream, but just a dream, a kind of vision. Nothing special. Okay, good. So would anyone like to share the experience with these exercises of seeing everyone like enlightened beings and then feeling oneself like being in a dream, looking at your hands moving? Would anyone like to share any like experience, insights that you could have while doing this practice? Or you didn't have anything? You're just respectfully listening to me talking. Yeah. If you want, you raise your blue hand. You know, you're re-traumatizing me like this. Okay, Tom.
Yeah. Yes. Hi. Yeah, I often wondered about imagination and how it's used in terms of liberation. Because it can be so easy in that simple exercise to reperceive people as enlightened beings, and that changes your whole perspective of it. Because normally we chow down in a kind of dualistic fermentation of boxing people into categories of with this constant sort of mental chatter. So so that turns the whole thing on its head. But what I'm interested in is imagination, because liberation implies that you're liberated forever, instead of just sort of toying with it, using our imagination to imagine that we're enlightened or other people are enlightened. I'm not sure where I'm going with that, but that's just the starting board for you.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point that you made, and really, and of course, this is all mind-made. What we did is mind-made, definitely, but also the mandala that we are visualizing when we are doing Sutra practice is mind-made. Yeah. And sometimes when we have this idea about going beyond mind, we neglect simple mind-made things. We neglect even though they can have an immediate effect. Yeah. And of course, this perception of everyone as an enlightened being or seeing everything in a dream is not the state of liberation, no, and I didn't say that. But you can see that your grasping is pacified immediately. Yeah, many kinds of your grasping are pacified. Like when you see everyone as enlightened beings, yeah, how does it boost your presence? No? And the presence is something good. This is not something that we want to neglect. Like Chogyam Namkha Norbo is always saying that ordinary presence is a gate or window for an instant presence to manifest. Yeah, a gate through which we can see or access instant presence. And this is a tool to develop ordinary presence. When we are not tormented by our old judgments and all sensory perceptions, it's much easier to maintain presence, no? That's why we say we release grasping, yeah? Grasping on these good things, bad things, grasping on differences, and particularly grasping on personal relationship, yeah? Like, for example, probably you look at the screen and you see a person and you have a long history with that person. And this long history is conditioning you, your attitude, your perception, but you change it for mind-made image. And then you can feel relief from this conditioning. Yeah. This is the point. This is not the point to believe we are enlightened in this way. No. But this is how we learn to deal with our minds. Yeah? We perceive that this is something different. Yeah? It's not only Buddhist thing, you know, that, for example, when we read some stories, like story of Eov, yeah, Job, biblical story, that he had so many calamities, so many problems and troubles, but he was believing that the God was testing him, and this gave him strength to survive, you know? This is the power of religion, to give you a vision that helps you to survive and to endure the horrors of human suffering, the horrors of human existence, yeah. Which is also good. It is not that bad at all. And it doesn't matter if this religion is right or wrong, but it helps, yeah. You remember in 6 parameters, when we have the first parameter, the parameter of giving. You say generosity, but it's about giving. It's about giving a gift, which is the highest gift. It's not the gift of the teaching, giving the teaching, but the gift of liberating from fear is the highest gift, to liberate sentient beings from fear. When there is this right of buying out fish or birds, it's not for saving their lives. We cannot save lives. It's impossible to save lives. But it's about giving freedom from fear, because fish and cattle and birds, they know they're gonna be killed. They have fear. They are alive, they can have fear and they feel fear. And when we buy them out and we release them, at least we give them temporary relief from fear. We are not going to save their lives. It's impossible to save lives. They will die. Everyone dies eventually. But fear, we can liberate from fear, at least for some time. You see? And this is a power also. What we do here is a power of mental projection. Yeah? And it can also liberate from fear. Because in the dream, when you know everything is a dream, that there is no fear as well. There is no grasping. And we can relax in this situation. When we see everything is like a dream, or everything is, everyone is an enlightened being, it gives us more freedom, more resources. Why? Because we stop spending our resources on different kinds of grasping. That's very clear, no? That's very obvious. We feel lighter, we feel more free, we feel more relaxed, we feel more calm, we feel more joy, we feel more presence. You see, these are all good qualities, no? That we are trying to develop. And on this base, it's much easier to have a kind of a deep insight into the nature of things than when it is the moment when we are totally distracted and conditioned by everything external and internal. This is the point. And also when we are doing this exercise, we understand how our minds work. This is also an important thing. You see, we just turn some switch in our head and, oh, now things are different. Not only things are different, I feel different, yeah? Not just things are different. And change another one, okay, these are all bloody maniacs, serial killers, looking at me from the screen. 25 killers are looking at me from the screen. And they, yeah, particularly that guy, Phil, yeah, yeah, yeah. You see, also can change a little bit. Or maybe you can imagine these are all dead people and you're talking to dead. Yeah. Yeah. And we can play with this and we can discover the power of vision. You remember these words of Guru Padmasambhava. Yeah. The vision itself is not a problem. The problem is to be conditioned by that vision. And then we can discover how easily we can be conditioned by this vision. And through applying many of such exercises, we can be free from this conditioning. We discover, this is just a vision affecting me. Yeah? This is not real. Yeah, somebody is telling that Trump is bringing America to hell. And I feel, oh, what a terrible Trump. Yeah, something like this. Or there is like Russian danger, Chinese danger, whatever. And we can feel we are conditioned by that. Our attitude is changing. But how we discover this? Through applying ourselves these methods. Yeah. And then, of course, it's not a state of final liberation, but this is a kind of a way to first to generate positive states. Yeah. In Sutra style, in Sutra understanding, dualistic, but still positive, no? It's still better to feel relaxed than feeling tense, no? Much better, even though we are not liberated, but sometimes we just want to relax. Fuck this liberation, I just want to relax and just let me alone. Don't torture me with your practice, yeah? Yeah. Like many parents are torturing their children with trying to make them practice, yeah. Or their husbands or wives, they're torturing. So why don't you practice? Why don't you practice? Yeah. But through this, we can discover how the mind works. And then, for example, when we're looking, but who is moving this hand? Yeah. And then you remain in the state of astonishment, yeah? Not understanding who is doing this. This can be a gate to liberation. Not yet liberation, but a gate to liberation. Okay, did I answer your question, Tom? Yeah, great. Okay, Phil. No more blue hand. Okay, thanks.
I want.
Okay, thanks for re-traumatizing me before. Yeah.
I want to express.
Okay, please, Esmeralda. Yeah.
So, well, my name is not Esmeralda. It's because my name is Lucy Romero. I am from Mexico City, and now
okay.
it's
Nice to meet you, Lucy
2
Romero.
o'clock in the middle of the night. Well, my feeling was, even though that the time was like stop, like go slower, and it has a beautiful feeling inside, like a happy feeling, because everything becomes like lighter and shiny.
Yeah.
Kind of something like, wow, it really happens.
Yeah.
Perhaps the heaviest part of everything is the story that I plug in with the images that I collect from my perception.
Yeah. Good. You see, it's easy, no?
Yes.
Yeah, it's so easy. And then it's free. For free, yeah. And so far, totally legal.
Oh, yeah. No pills required.
No. I always say 3 important things about this. When you discover, well, when it's a nice thing and you discover, It is easily accessible. So you don't need a dealer or pusher or whoever or Amazon delivery. So it's immediately available. It is free, for free, and this is totally legal so far. I'm not sure it will continue like this, but at least at the moment it's still totally legal. Okay, great, Lucy Romero, great.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So we refresh. We don't just, even we are listening to these dialogues. It's like you can choose. You can choose, or either in a dream, or like this is a dialogue of enlightened beings. But choose dream, yeah. Okay, Peter.
Hi, everybody. It's very interesting because I worked with this in the past. For example, I imagine an island and I exploring in my head. And I not imagining what there. It's appearing with my mind. And I also work with dreams and also work with this and everything. It's a dream, and I understand that. Real world is just real because I fate it's real, and everything it's because I have this body in the real world, and I have body in the dream. I have body in my imagine, or if I use something, or I do, for example, holotropic breath work, I'm other place, and but I am what I am. It's everywhere. It's I'm not. It's not real. This word just because I fate. This is a real word, and it's a very good feeling. I'm free from all days bodies.
Yeah.
And maybe I don't know, it's will when I will die. I go to the bar or something like that.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? This we don't know. This we can believe it, but this is not something that we know. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also a body, also a other body. I can imagine my body, what I like.
Yeah, but the point, when we say we see things as real, what does it mean? It means that we have hopes and fears related to that. Hopes and fears. It means that even we are watching some movie and we have hopes and fears, it means we see that as real. Yeah? So these are our expectations that something terrible can happen to us, or something, there can be some punishment or some reward. Yeah? And this means that we feel these things are real. Yeah? And it is something that makes us feel human and alive, but also it's hard, it's suffering. When I have hopes and fears, it is suffering. Yeah? But when things are not real, there can be no hope, no suffering, no? What kind of hope? What kind of fear? What can you hope for if it's not real? What can you be afraid of if it's not real? What kind of punishment? What kind of reward? No, nothing like this. So when we project this is like a dream. I don't say you should be forever like in this practice of projecting. No, of course not. This is just one thing. This is not a universal thing. If you have a spontaneous perception, everything like a dream, then it's another story, but projecting is not necessary. But can experiment, can do practice and see how it is changing and what kind of qualities you're developing. And it's not persuading oneself. Then, okay, this is a dream, I don't need to fill my tax declaration. No? Yeah, maybe you don't you don't feel it now, but then when you have to go to jail or sell your house, yeah, then it's more difficult to say that you are in a dream. Still, if it's still possible, then okay. Yeah. So this is like this. Yeah. But this is an instrument, and it's a good instrument. And it also helps us to feel what we call emptiness or illusoriness of everything. Okay. Andrew? About Andrew, I know precisely he's a saint. Yeah. Saint André de Majancul. Okay, but you have to turn on your mic first. Yeah, Your Holiness.
How is that?
Yeah.
You can hear my voice?
Yes, now yes, we can hear your holy voice.
So yesterday I was, you know, I live in France and we're living in a lockdown. And there's nobody in the street and everybody has to stay at home.
This is still France, no?
Yeah.
That's the point.
France is in very big lockdown. But I had to go out and I had to take the subway to go someplace. And I was going down this very steep stairs to get on the key to get the subway. And there was one subway on the right and one subway on the left. And I was going down and I wasn't sure if I had to take the right or the left. And there was a man going down the stairs with me. And I was very distracted. And I was wearing my mask, but on my nose, on my mouth, not on my nose, not properly. Because I don't take this obviously the same way as this man did, because I turned around and I said, to go to such and such a place, is this the subway that I should take? And he freaked and he stopped his movement and started to move backwards, and he fell on the staircase and reached out as if I had a knife. And he looked at me in these big horrified eyes.
Yeah.
And so his illusion and my illusion, it looked like we were in the same dimension going down the stairs. But he lives in an absolute hell realm of fear.
Yeah, he didn't realize you were a saint.
He thought I was sort of a very, very big virus going down the stairs.
Yeah.
And the nail was driven in another 20 minutes later. I was walking down the street to go to this person's house. And there was a woman and her shoelaces were undone. So I passed her and I turned around and they said, beware, your shoelace is undone, you could hurt yourself. And it was the same look, the same horrified look. We both had masks on, but that maybe, so I have the feeling that at the moment, where the whole world is living in an illusion, particularly of fear.
Yes.
And
That's
maybe,
the biggest.
what?
That's the biggest problem of this lockdown.
Yeah, that my illusion is not really the same as everybody else's, because everybody is really in deep distress.
Yeah.
As if suddenly they realized the possibility of dying, or I don't want to go in detail about, but it was a very strange experience about the illusion I'm in and the illusion other people are in, and the illusion that we are in the same illusion. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, you see, this vision of panic is everywhere. People are afraid, and like children are afraid. Everything. See? I can see children, school children in my building, and if they are entering an elevator with somebody who doesn't have a mask, they are afraid.
Yeah.
It's about the mask. It's not about entering elevator with a stranger, because they never were afraid before.
Yeah.
And now they are afraid. Yeah. And this is horrible, and this is a projected vision. When you see everyone as a person, as a potential threat, this is terrible, to see everyone as a potential threat. Yeah. And of course, finally people realize, so they can die. Yeah. Okay. Good morning. Yeah. Okay. Anyone else wants to share some experience related to the practice that we are continuing to do now? Trying not to be distracted very much with that. Okay. Okay. So this is the power of our mental projections. And then we can have a glimpse when we are changing, you know, when we are switching this, turning this switch in our head to see things like this or to see things like that. Yeah. Then we can have a glimpse into how this vision is generated. And this is a kind of a gate, yeah? Then we see that there is nothing there, there is just interpretation, and we don't really know what's happening. There are interpretations. And we can really see that it's no longer like an intellectual conclusion that this is an interpretation. We can have a real glimpse and insight into this. When we do it one time, another time, third time, few times we do this. Yeah. You can, for example, you can imagine that all people you see in front of you are dead people in real sense, are like zombies. Yeah. Or you can see them as deities, enlightened beings. You can have an attitude that you walk outside of your house and you go, this is all a cemetery. This is another way to change our vision, which is also used in Vajrayana. You see everything like a huge cemetery. If you, for example, if you are Hevajra and you abide in a cemetery, and cemetery can look any way. You don't have a particular prescription how cemeteries should look like. Yeah? It can look like anything. It can look like a New York City. It can look even like Paris. Yeah, even Paris, yeah. Let alone some other places, yeah. We can look at them and see, oh, this is all, and it's not difficult to see all people as dead. No, it's not difficult at all. It's quite close to reality, yeah. Because we can, in some way, we can consider. With children, it's more difficult, but with adult people, it's so easy to see them as dead, because the only difference between most people and dead people is that they can move, you know. But this is just a phase of the dead people, you know. You can see. Sometimes we can feel like dead, yeah. Yeah, this is also an exercise, and also if you see everyone is like dead, you don't really care, and you don't expect much from people. They are dead. What can you expect from the dead? Yeah. Can you expect from a dead person that this person is going to repay his or her debt? No. Or like follow traffic rules? No. Cannot expect much. Make good budget for the new year. Make good laws. No, not really. No. Well, you don't expect much, then okay, you're free from all these expectations. Yeah. You're already ready for worse. Yeah. So then everything which is better than worse is good. Yeah. Everything which is better than absolutely terrible is good. Absolutely terrible already happened. Everyone already is dead. Yeah. So you can see we can play with our minds. We can play like this. Like for example, you can look outside and look at the tree. Yeah. And when you see how this tree is standing on the ground, you can see how your mind is projecting roots of this tree, but we don't see roots, no? You can see that, oh, these people are just standing there without roots. You can have this perception. You can play with these things. It's not about being right or wrong, that this is better than the other, no. It's just exploring how changing the vision, this is the vision, yeah, transforms our attitude and our reactions. Yeah. You can see people as dead. You can see people as enlightened beings. You can see people as all like your relatives. Which can be worse than dead. Yeah. If you have like big like families, like Italian families or Jewish families, something like this, then it's better to imagine them enlightened beings. More healthy. Yeah. So you see, and the attitude is changing. Then you see everything is like a dream. And you feel it. You feel it. You know it's mind-made. But you feel the change. If you're saying, some people don't feel change. They say, ah, well, I don't believe. Okay. It means no capacities. But if we have capacities, we can do this. And we can use it. We can practice it, exercise it. And then when you see the dream, look at your hands. When you say everything is a dream, look at your hands and check, but how is it moving? How? Did anyone have a feeling of a miracle? Looking at your hands moving? Did you see? Yeah. You see, it's great, no? This is when we say illusion, yeah? This is like this. It's like in Prajnaparamita Sutras, it's said that we perceive everything like a dream. And this can be a practice, like a mirage, a dream. Then it's changing and it gives us more freedom. Seeing things as unreal gives us freedom. It's not a kind of ultimate state of liberation, but it can be a gate, entrance point. Because this is also another aspect of emptiness. It means that when we see things as unreal, it means they lack existence. Yeah? Lack. absence, emptiness, nothing. We don't see nothing as a kind of object. But when we see things as a dream, we have this insight of not seeing reality in things. And we don't need to analyze, like they do in Gelugpa. They analyze for hours and for days and for years. They analyze. But it's not necessary. Just see everything as a dream. If you meet for collective practice, see everyone as a bodhisattva, as an enlightened being, whatever it means. I'm not really sure about what it means, really. I say imagine, but you will have this idea, definitely. You have this idea, and it means that this idea has value for you. I can have my ideas, and you can have your ideas about what means enlightened beings, but this doesn't matter. We are not going to check who is right or who is wrong. It's important that this idea has value for you, and this mental projection is related to this value. Yeah. You look at these people and you see them enlightened, and this has value for you. You don't invent this value. It means it already has value for you. Because otherwise, why would have you come here? Why would have you come to the teaching, to the Dzogchen community or other community, for the retreats, etc.? Why? Because there is some value. You see that value. And we do not judge whether this value is good value or bad value. Yeah? We can use this value. Usually in our world, people use values for motivating, for working harder, using different kinds of value, for sacrificing their lives for the motherland. At least people feel like that, etc. But we can use values for developing presence, for developing or for decreasing grasping, developing non-grasping, but it's a very abstract thing, non-grasping, but decrease our grasping using values. Because, for example, if I were talking to people who are not interested in spiritual matters and I tell them, you imagine all these people are enlightened, it doesn't work. But if they imagine these are top 100 of Forbes, then it works, because they have different values, but the effect is the same. The effect is, oh, these people become more attentive, want to hear what top 100 of Forbes can say, or Nobel Prize winners can say. So we are just using the value of enlightenment that we all share, even though we can understand it differently and disagree with each other, but it doesn't matter. We are not going to have an argument and to decide who is right, who is wrong. We are exploring our minds. And if you have a value, any value can do, whichever way you understand it. The same story when we perceive everyone as our children, Having a children, it has value. The problem with children is that we have a long personal history with children, and if you imagine every being as a mother, then we have still bigger history of relationship with the mother, and this history can very much condition us. But we don't have much history of having relationship with enlightened beings or top 100 Forbes. It's easier, but it still has value. And this feeling of, when we are talking about the dream, this feeling of illusoriness is emptiness. You see, we can use one mental projection to develop positive qualities. In Sutra, we call it accumulating merits. Yeah? So you see, as soon as you imagine everyone as enlightened beings, immediately you start to accumulate merits because you experience respect, you experience presence, so you develop good qualities immediately. Feeling devotion, etc. These are all called merits. These are, yeah. But if you feel everything is like a dream, then you develop accumulation of wisdom, non-grasping, no? Emptiness. Even though it's mind-made, it still has function. And through switching here and there and changing, try to do the same way. Try to both feel these are all enlightened beings and this is a dream at the same time. Does it work? No, not easy, no? Not easy. It's a kind of a paradoxal, no? At the same time, feeling that these are all enlightened beings, but this is still a dream. So you see, enlightened beings generates value. Dream devaluates totally, no? Okay, I have a dream of seeing enlightened beings. Like, who cares? Yeah. Who the hell cares? It's just my dream. Yeah. See, contradictory, yeah, paradoxal. That's why it's very difficult to accumulate merits and wisdoms at the same moment. To practice relative truth and absolute truth at the same moment. Yeah? Because contradictory, paradoxal on a logical level. But it's a good point to go beyond that and to be in the state of paradox, a state of non-understanding anything. Yeah, interesting, yeah. We can switch, we can swing one way or another way, yeah. Emptiness or like dream, enlightened beings. Dream, enlightened beings. Non-existence, important existence, yeah. We can swing between these states, yeah? But having them together becomes paradoxal, no? Okay, good. So now we're going to have a break for like 10 minutes or maybe 12 minutes. And during this break, try to maintain dream. Yeah. So dream about going to toilet, dream about drinking tea or coffee, dream about scratching your ass, yeah, or talking to somebody. Try to maintain this dream. And also look, when you have this dream and when you're walking, look at your feet. Look how your feet are moving. Yeah, not all the time, of course, because you need to go somewhere. But for example, you make few steps in your room, on your apartment, you make few steps. You don't need to change direction or to overcome some kind of obstacles. Just use these few steps to see how your feet are walking and who is walking them. Yeah. Make this experiment. Okay, so it's now 12 minutes to something, and at something we are meeting again. Okay, so we can continue. So now we do Guru Yoga. We didn't do Guru Yoga in the first part. It was more connected to Sutra and general Vajrayana. And now we do Guru Yoga. And you remember that important part of Guru Yoga is that we are not watching at this white R, but we are ourselves. We are this white R. We are present as white R. And then we relax and remain in the presence of this clarity of being white R without effort. Okay, so actually, when I was preparing for this session, I did it a few days ago. I had somewhat different plan for that, and but of course, since yesterday Elliot died, and many people are very emotional about that. Then I changed, and we did what we did in the first part. But for this part of our session, we have a Semzin. And this is a Semzin of the third group. It's not one of the 7 Semzins that we have in the Precious Ways, but it is an important and interesting Semzin related to emptiness. And in fact, all Semzins from the third group are related to emptiness. And Semzins means that holding mind, literally means holding mind. And in real sense, it means that we get into some state with emptiness. We're working with mind and we have some experience. Experience is not only mental, experience is also on the level of the body. Yeah. So on all levels of our energy and also mind, etc. So this is Semzin. And you know, we are saying, and we already discussed it the previous session last Saturday, that Semzins are related to transmission. But what does it mean that they are related to transmission, and that's why they are secret? If we read the technique of a Samzin, there is nothing so secret there, really. Absolutely nothing so secret. What is secret, really secret, like in shouting pad and stopping thoughts, or doing some other Samzins, etc.? Some of these exercises we can find somewhere else in other teachings, not considered Samzins. And like even the practice we did last time, it was from Hinayana, and still it is a Samzin. Yeah. But it is connected to the transmission of the teaching, to the communication of the real meaning. And it's like, for communicating, we need words. For ordinary human communications, we need words and we need gestures. Yeah. And this is how we can transmit the meaning of our message. This is how we can communicate. So in the Dzogchen teaching, for transmitting the meaning, we need experiences. Experience of emptiness, of clarity, of sensation, of all experiences joined together. Yeah. You are using experience, though. These are language of experience. And Samzins, they give some, it's like good words. Yeah. Samzins and also Rushans, they are like good words for communicating this experience. Yeah. But it should be connected with the meaning which is behind that. You know, like we say a word. I don't know, we say a word, Bob. You know, what does it mean, Bob? Yeah. Like in English language, this is a shortened form of Robert. Yeah, Bob. Something like this. Maybe there is already this, there is this verb to Bob. Yeah. Yeah. But for example, in Russian language, this word means a bean. Yeah? Bob means a bean. And in some other language, it can mean something different. Yeah, like mama. In many languages, mama means mother. Yeah, but in Georgian language, I don't mean the state of Georgia in the United States. So far they don't have a new language. Yeah, maybe if Trump won, they would eventually have one, but not yet. But Georgia, a country between Asia and Europe on Caucasus Mountains. Yeah. So in Georgian language, mama means dad. Yeah? Yeah. Daddy, they say mama. So you see, there should be some meaning. We are just saying a word, and there should be some meaning connected, and we must be in the context. We should know that we are speaking like Italian, not Georgian. Yeah, when we are saying mama. So in the same way, with the practices, of course, there is a technique, but there is some meaning behind this technique. Yeah, and this technique is for applying, but why? For communicating some meaning. Yeah. So we can communicate the meaning that we know. We cannot communicate the meaning that we don't know. And it's like with the same word, we can communicate this many different meanings. Yeah, like with the word key. Yeah, with the word key, we can so many meanings we can communicate. Yeah? So with the same technique, we can communicate different meanings. So it means that this technique, this method, should be connected to that particular meaning that we want to communicate. Then it works in this context. Outside of a context, it's going to be just a technique, just a method, and just some kind of an experience, which is also inevitable to have an experience when we apply these methods. But if it's not connected to the meaning which is communicated, then we can interpret it the way we like. Yeah. according to the meanings that we already know, but not to the new meaning. But if you already know the meaning, then it works. You know, like gestures, sometimes say like this, and this already communicates the meaning. Yeah? Like, that's the point. No, I tell another joke. Yeah. About the meaning of the word "o." Yeah. So this is a Jewish joke from Odessa. You know, many famous Jewish people in America, they originated in Odessa. Yeah. And then they immigrated like 120 years ago, they immigrated. And so this is like Odessa, a cemetery, and two Jewish people, lay people, not religious, are walking through this cemetery. They're just passing it, and they're discussing. And one is saying, you see, Mr. Friedman, you see how many important people are lying here in this cemetery. You see, for example, we have this famous banker, Hirsch, and you know, he was so respected. When if I die, I would like to lie next to Mr. Hirsch, or like Mr. Goldfinger, something like this. Yeah. And Mr. Friedman, who would you like to lie next to? Well, I think, Mr. Goldman, that I would love to lie next to Madame Rabinovich, but she's still alive. Oh. If you just say "oh," doesn't mean anything, no? But here you say "oh," and you completely understand the whole story. No, you don't need many words. Yeah. Oh. So this is how we apply Semzins. And the Semzin we apply now is called the Semzin of direct emptiness. And what is that? Let's just look around. Yeah, look around to listen to some sounds, not just my voice. And then you can notice that every time, or almost every time, you see something, or you hear something, or you sense something, then your mind is commenting on that, is defining, is like how Tom said this morning, boxing things, yeah, putting things into boxes and labeling them. So just notice how it's happening. Just spend a half minute. Okay, so did you notice that? Just give me some sign. Yeah, you notice. This is easy, yeah, to notice. This is what Carlos Castaneda was calling internal dialogue, which is basically a monologue. Yeah. So we are commenting on everything. So what we try to do now, we try to stop it. So just look around or hear things, but don't let your mind comment and judge what you see or what you hear. Let's just try for a few minutes. Okay, so it's enough time to check if you can or not. So first, I want somebody who could do this, because I'm sure that not everyone could do this. It's not easy. Yeah. So first, if somebody could do this, could you please share your experience? How was it? When you were trying and you succeeded to not let, or maybe not, maybe you missed sometimes. No, it's not important, but in general, you could from time to time succeed not to allow your mind to comment on what's happening. Just being in the raw presence of sensory perceptions. Okay. Peter. Yeah, Jocelyn, I can see you.
Yes, you can hear me? Yeah.
Yes, please.
First time was there, I see the thoughts because my wife doing something, and I heard this, and I think what she do.
Yeah.
And after I see just this thoughts, and after it was like a river. It's going, and I let it, and it was yeah, it's emptiness, or I don't know how to say.
You mean
But,
like a river? What, sensory perceptions or thoughts?
Thoughts and sensory also. It's each other. It's complete each other. I see my thoughts and hear the voice, for example, and see my vision.
Yeah,
and
but
it's everything. It's completely. Yeah.
Yeah, but here the point was to block thoughts in a way, not to let thoughts appear and comment on things.
Okay.
Could you do this?
Thought it's arised. Yeah, but arise the thought, and I don't block it. Just let it go.
Yeah, but the point was that you have a sensory perception and you don't allow a thought, your mind, to comment it. That was the point. It was not just observing whatever is coming, but the point was there is some sensory perception. So you hear some noise from the kitchen. And of course, and your mind wants to say, oh, this is my wife just did this or that. Put a cooking pan on a stove, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So you are not allowing your mind to comment like this. That was the point.
You think like in Shine, I'm blocking something because I'm focusing very well.
You are blocking exactly commenting. Yeah. This was what we are doing. This is the technique for this Simzin, the procedure. Yeah. Okay. If you did something else,
I
then,
lost that.
yeah, you did something else. That's okay. In general, it's two important things which are two biggest difficulties, because I'm teaching, like my main job is teaching meditation, and I discovered that there are two big obstacles when people are learning to apply methods. One obstacle is people forget what they should apply. And they don't apply according to the instructions. The other thing is that they already know something, and that's why they apply something they know, yeah, and they don't apply instructions, but they apply more than instructions, for example. They apply extra, something they were not asked to apply. And these are two difficult things, and you need to navigate. Okay, thank you, Peter. Jocelyn, please.
Yes, first, I don't know if I really did well, but what I observe, it was just that I look more carefully at what was in front of me.
Yes.
And it was much relaxing me. It was two things. And then, it was amazing how I could see things that I don't see usually. So this was exactly what happened to me.
Yeah, so you could see many new things in your room that you never saw before, looking for years at them.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, great.
And I was more relaxed, much more relaxed.
Yeah, great. You did perfect. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Lena, please.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that I can't describe this experience like blocking the thoughts, though I'm sure I was right. Because maybe at the very beginning, sometimes when I was interrupted, yes, we can say more or less like blocking the thoughts. But I must say that it is more like you change the point of view. And from this point of view, you have some other landscape, let's say. And for me, at this time, it was more like blissful experience, I think.
Yeah, good.
Very fresh.
Good. Yeah, it's very fresh, exactly. And here, yes, this is not blocking thoughts. It is not blocking thoughts how we do in Shine, when we notice a thought and then we are blocking. This is not allowing a thought to arise. This is more difficult, no? Because for blocking thoughts, we need a thought. And here we don't yet have a thought. We are not allowing a thought to manifest, yeah? To mind to comment. We are not allowing. And this is more difficult. And okay, Olga, you want to say something?
Yes, I want to ask. There were two ways I could do that. I'm not sure they're different in fact, because first I started to move the attention faster than I did it before, so that the thought didn't have time to develop.
Yes.
And then I noticed that actually I can block thought at the moment they are trying to arise.
Yeah.
And then I discovered that actually I can fully move my attention to the visual field.
Yes.
And then at that point, I do not know if thoughts are arising or not, because I just do not notice.
Yeah, that's right. That's a legitimate way to experience this emptiness. Yeah, a legitimate way. And this is what Rinpoche was always suggesting, that you move your gaze from one side to another, but quickly. and then you discover that you have a vision, but you don't have thoughts. Yeah, this is one way, but you know, you cannot maintain it for a long time. Yeah, it's demanding. Yeah, it's tiring. Yeah. So what was the second way?
The second way, there is some point when the thought is starting to arise, and then you just do something,
yeah,
and it does not develop.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is the point. This is exactly it. I was not explaining. It is like, you know, I'm throwing you into the water and you discover how you do it. And this is exactly how you do it. It is about time. It is about time because about speed, not just time, but it's about speed. So if you have enough speed of perception, maybe it's not 25 frames or 24 frames per second, maybe we need more, but if you have enough speed of perception to notice a thought, not when it's fully manifest, but when it's just rising like a movement, some kind of movement on the surface of the ocean, and it's not yet manifesting as something concrete, then we can have time. We can have a time to also, Jocelyn did it because she was saying I was looking sharply, yeah, more sharply. Yeah, this is also true. We can apply this. We are looking sharply and it disappears. So we can look sharply when thought already has arisen. We can look sharply and it disappears. But we can catch the moment when it's still, it has not yet manifested fully. So it's not yet an image, it's not yet a phrase, but it's already something, some movement. And when we look at it sharply, sharply does not mean effort here. It does not mean effort. It means like, just what kind of, you said precise, yeah? I think what the word that you use, precise, yeah. It's more like with more precision, you observe, and even though your mind, in fact, it's your body, it's not your mind, is reacting, yeah, in producing some kind of neural activity that will eventually manifest as a thought fully. But you notice this reaction. This is an automatic reaction of your body. Yeah? Automatic reaction of our system. We have a signal and then we are reacting. So, but it takes time. It takes time. It takes some milliseconds. It's not immediate. It is fast, but we can be faster. So in a way, we develop a faster system than that, faster than a thought. Yeah. And then we are noticing how this thought is arising, and it's not reaching a kind of threshold that makes it manifest thought, something concrete. It's something not concrete, but we notice it's arising. And when we notice it, it disappears. And we don't allow this thought to arise and to comment on what we've seen. Yeah. So if it doesn't work for you, and I think that maybe for some people it doesn't work, then I can give you just a hint how you do, and try to move your attention and look at things sharply. Whatever you see, you look sharply with some precision or even some little effort, yeah? Or if you hear something, you hear with some effort, like precision or something like this. Or you smell, or you experience some bodily sensation. So whatever is coming, be there more. Like put yourself into that more. So like it's like exaggerating whatever is coming. Try it for a few times. I don't say you do it for long times, but try it, and it's in some way it's like clearing the space, making things more distinct, and then less things happening. Yeah, because we have too many things happening, and our mind is here and there. But making less things happening, when you're making less things happening, then they become more distinct. And when they become more distinct, it's easier to distinguish a sensory perception and the thought arising. Okay, let's try. But if you can apply this method, then you just continue to apply this method. But if you have difficulties with that, try to engage more with every single perception which is arising. Try to invest more of yourself into that perception. Now release all the efforts and just remain as you are without changing or modifying anything or starting anything new. Just rest. Okay, so I would like to hear from someone who couldn't do with the first try, but with the second attempt could manage. Who failed the first time, but succeeded the second time, at least could get the sense. I don't say 100%, but at least could understand how it is, how it works. Failing for the first time. Yeah, Lucy, you want to say?
Oh yes, I at the second time I easily perceive the difference between a thought and between a sensations in my body, like breathing or my stomach moving, and sensations like perceiving the tick-tock of a watch behind me, and the thoughts that arises, and the thoughts has more weight.
Yeah.
More strength to capture my attention. And then when you said just relax and leave things that move easily and freely, it was like relaxing.
Yeah, yeah, good. The experience you say is an experience, we call it in the teaching, separating mind and body. It's not like separating mind and body, like decapitating something like this. It can be also fun, you know. Yeah, but it means that we learn to discriminate between a sensory perceptions, and our thoughts about we perceive. Because usually there is a mixture and we don't understand the difference. We say, oh, this person is stupid. How do you know? But I see that. But you cannot see that this person is stupid, no? It's impossible to see if the person is stupid with your eyes or with your ears, etc. But mind makes a judgment, this person is stupid, and we perceive this judgment of of our mind, and then it is projected on our sensory perception. Say, yeah, but look, his face looks so stupid, you know, that means he's stupid, yeah? This is how we say, yeah? Or weird, that yeah, this person is crazy. This is how it works. And then it is very difficult to untie this connection between what we see and what we think about what we see. And separating mind and body means like we can clearly understand the difference between what we see in a general sense, not just with the eyes, but what we see with our eyes, what we perceive, our vision, yeah, senses, what we see, what we hear, and what we think about what we see and what we hear. This is like a basic separation. Yeah, that's great. That's a great experience. Yeah, good. And then on the base of this, we have enough time to somehow not to let thoughts arise. Yeah, it gives us a gap. Maybe you didn't have this gap yet. Maybe you did not use this gap yet, but it gives you space. Yeah, space and also time. And you can discover that they don't happen at the same moment, sensory perception, and then a thought. It takes time for a thought to arise. And while it is arising, you can somehow manage it. You can look at the process of arisal, and this arisal does not happen, so the thought does not fully manifest. And you remain just in the presence of this raw sensory data.
Mm.
And this is emptiness. This is another kind of emptiness. Yeah. And then how we connect it to the transmission, like, for example, who is experiencing this emptiness? Yeah. This is my state, when this emptiness becomes a kind of stable state, but who is experiencing this emptiness? But this is not a thought about who is experiencing. This is not a thought. This is a kind of wisdom who is experiencing this emptiness without thought, non-verbal, trans-verbal. And then this is how it becomes connected with the transmission. Otherwise, you just have an experience of emptiness, which is nice, relaxing, good. But emptiness is just emptiness, just another experience. Sometimes when you hit your head, you experience that. I had this kind of experience. It was a very low ceiling, and I was not present, and I really hit my hand, my forehead so hard I was bleeding, and I had just a sound woo in my head, and no thoughts, like Hedeva. Yeah, I'm sure probably most people had this fantastic experience, but don't try to repeat that at home. Okay. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you.
Angela, you wanted to say, yeah, I see your re-traumatizing hand, the blue hand. I love being re-traumatized, yeah.
I don't think that's a good idea. Okay. It was a little bit different for me. It was, I want to check with you whether I was doing it correctly. It was like giving the sensory objects a kind of very bare attention without, in a kind of relaxed way, without focusing too tightly on them. And then I found that the thoughts didn't come up very much at all.
Yeah.
And when they did, I'm not sure what I shifted, but it was some kind of refocusing of attention or something, that the thoughts sort of subsided or became totally unimportant. And then I could just be aware. It's a kind of what I call a bare awareness of just the sensation.
Yeah. Precisely.
Is that what you meant?
Yeah, precisely. It's like a bare perception of bare attention without interpreting things. Yeah. You are just like clearing the mess, and you just see how it is there without interpreting things.
Right.
Yeah, and it's liberating.
It is, and very relaxing.
Yeah, relaxing, yeah. It's difficult to retain something from there. I mean, it's quite difficult to remember something from there. Yeah. That's why we need mind. We need mind to remember things. Otherwise, you have great experience and you want to share this experience with others, but you need words for that. And for words, you need thoughts. You need to fix this. And also, if you want to keep something for yourself, you know, for example, if you are like driving, you need to label things you are passing by, because otherwise you will not find the road again. Yeah, and for this you need labeling. Oh, this is a shop, a corner, a street, a traffic light, etc. Somehow we are labeling. Then we find a way when we have these poles, you know. when we put these sticks or flags, yeah.
Yeah, you're making a map, aren't you?
Yes, you're
You're referencing everything.
yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
For this we need mind, but then we become slaves of these references.
mm-mm.
I don't mean while driving, but in general, we become slaves, and we have references, but we don't see what they refer
See
to.
the sensation. Yeah.
Yeah. And we feel like, and then we say, oh, I'm calm, I'm very relaxed. Yeah. Yeah, something like this. Yeah. Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. Fucking bitch, I love you. So, see, there is a reference like love, yeah, or relax, but there is no experience it has to refer to. This is called intellectual. This is called being mental. Not having thoughts is called mental, but taking references, I mean, these references for what they refer to. Yeah. And this is great. This is what made our civilization possible. But this is called abstract thinking. But you see, whatever can be a cure can be a poison. And whatever can be a poison can be a cure. So we are not trying to erase our thinking. We are just trying to explore how it works. And then when it's necessary to apply, we apply thinking. There is no problem with that. Yeah. You cannot build a house without thinking. I mean, you can dig a hole in earth. Yeah. You don't need much thinking for that. If you want to make a proper house, even a simple one, you need to think, you need a model. You cannot experiment. Yes, and like with guess and try, try and fail. It doesn't work because you can only, many situations, you can only fail one time. Yeah. And that's it. Then your experiments are over. Yeah, great, Angela. Okay, good. So let's continue with that. Not letting our thoughts to arise in relation to what we see and hear. And then if you're noticing that you're applying effort, check if you can apply less effort. And then in the end, just when I say you relax completely and let everything be as it is without interfering. Thoughts, okay, no problem. And we start with Guru Yoga. Now release all efforts and just remain as you are without changing or modifying anything. Just as you were doing this practice, just release the effort without caring what you are perceiving, how you are reacting. It's like the end of the working day. But you know there is nowhere to hurry. Okay, and now let's summarize for ourselves what we've done, what we've learned, experiences, insights, wisdoms that we accumulated through this session. Because we say we accumulate wisdoms and merit, so we have to accumulate something. Moments of insights and moments of manifesting good qualities like presence and care and non-grasping, etc. Moments of emptiness, of understanding illusion, all those were accumulated throughout this session. So somehow we pack it. Yeah, we don't enumerate 1, 2, 3, 4. No, but in general, we feel it. And we feel good about that. In this, we dedicate whatever we accumulated, we mentally dedicate for the benefit of all beings, may it become a cause for their liberation, including ourselves. And then we enhance our intention with the mantra. Om Dare Dare Vendare Swaha Jaya Jaya Siddhi Siddhi Hala Vala Ahasha Sama Mama Ngori Sa